Okay, maybe we gonna go check on Freddy first before Pan? Or should we just get on with it? Let's do Freddy.
Hey, hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse.
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I went to a party held by the goddess of love, and she died.
Man, I always miss the really good parties. Here I was, sitting at home, just reading a book. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
What do you know? You seems like you know a lot.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Ooh.
What about Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a
Oh.
dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean,
True.
Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan. And no, they aren't all like that. Our sun god had a reputation.
Okay.
Tell me what you know about Persephone.
Oh, by the way,
Honestly,
who will be?
She's the least like her stories.
My girlfriend.
Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or
Just
both.
you wait.
And that's it? She was kidnapped by Hades, end of story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right, that doesn't sound like her at all.
Not
Must be hard
one
to be
bit.
defined by this one thing that happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true.
ask about Calliope.
Do you know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9. Though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Okay.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched. So they got that part right, at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
Looking forward to that.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her, then. Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed
Honestly,
it was
why
related
couldn't
to the
all of this
Eidolon.
happen to
Which is a
Freddy?
Greek word, but I think it means ghost.
The
An image of someone
fangirl
after
of
they
Greek
die.
mythology.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the
Maybe
big
not
names
fangirl, she's
missing.
just very,
Not
very
just Zeus and
knowledgeable.
Hades. Most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost. But also, what might still be out there.
I feel like you're gonna be an Eidolon by the end of this game.
You said Pan was
We're
some
both
kind
gonna
of
be
lust god, right?
the new gods.
Kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into a sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil.
Oh, that's
Weirdly,
true.
he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
Oh, thank God I went here first. I'm gonna go do that
Do you think there might be other gods
when I
out
meet
there?
up
Well,
with
there are
him.
all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies.
Down
Hundreds
under.
of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? All those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere, and no one would know.
Right.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
Yeah, it's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
Ah! That's true, though. I mean,
I wonder how
this
much of
gives
those
the
stories are
devs
true.
maybe
Yeah, it's hard to say.
reason
I'm
to
giving you the quick
do
version.
a sequel
There are
or
reams of
a
textbooks out there
second
covering
game with
all
a different
this, but
pantheon.
even they
That's,
rarely agree
that's
with each
pretty
other.
cool. There are a lot
Really?
of
Nothing definitive?
pantheons.
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
Oh, how are the other friends that we have?
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is Kaz Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
Cute. Love them. Sorry.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You
Play.
know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Why?
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
Well, I guess it is a bit.
You know what I find weird? That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
What?
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline. Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can
Girl
talk all
talk,
day. You know
friend
I
talk.
can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Headed off to Pan to ask about that statue of him having sex with a goat. So excited.
I'd say hello, Grace, but I'm afraid that look on your face might be catching.
What is this place?
It's a garden, darling. Surely even mortals have them.
This building. All those people I pass getting up here. Are they all idols?
Well, at least some of them. Welcome to Olympus, dear
They
Grace.
just
Our
let you
home
have a
hidden away
huge
in
ass
plain
tree
sight.
on your floor.
Marvelous, isn't it?
I've passed this part of the city 100 times. I've never seen this building. Was it always here? Or...
Our Lady Hecate provides glamours that allow
it's a
certain
magic
things to go
building. All right.
unseen, such
I
as
got
my
it.
glorious horns. Olympus is the same. Those invited see it. Those who aren't see exactly what they expect. It's not anywhere as grand as in the old country, but it serves its purpose.
This isn't
I
grand.
don't know, Pan. Olympus seems pretty grand to me.
As if mortals would know any better. This isn't the first time you've been here.
I'm not a
I'm
mortal
sure
anymore,
Hermes
man.
took you to Athena's dreary office.
Just so you know.
That's here? Huh.
Good one, that Hermes. Almost as dull-witted as the original, but biddable.
How many idols are there?
What?
I've met, less than 12?
Oh, I don't know, 20, 30.
You've met less than 10.
Our numbers have
Grace.
dwindled so much I've stopped keeping track.
I didn't know there were that many gods.
We're not all equally legendary, it's true. Some idols were barely worshipped, others not at all. Indeed, not all of us are idols. Some are merely immortal. Hangers-on, if you will. You'll meet them all, given time.
Do most
Idols live here?
live here?
I mean, Calliope didn't, obviously. Apollo doesn't either.
One must have special dispensation from Our Lady of Wisdom, Athena, before they can take up a private dung heap like Apollo's.
Am I gonna have to give up my apartment?
That's rather putting the cart before the horse, darling. First, you must outlive the week.
Correct.
Right. Good point. You asked me to meet you here?
I did. As I recall, you owe me a favor. A
Oh,
favor that I now wish
fuck.
to collect, if you'd be so kind.
What is it?
Oh, sure. I'm totally in a position to help others right now. Lay it on me.
Here's the thing. A friend has begged for my help, and you're far better suited than I to offer what he requires.
Who
I'll
are we
give you a
talking
key to reach
about?
the reliquary where he resides. You help him, and then we're even. If that's not enough incentive, the reliquary is also where you'll find the lovely Hecate. A sorceress of her power could aid your quest. What do you say?
Would she really? She's not like a
This Hecate.
deceptive witch.
Do you think she could help me?
If she's of a mind. She is the goddess of dark magic, the creator of all our marvelous glamours. If anyone can help you, it is she.
And if she's not of a mind?
Then she won't help you. Grace, that part is up to you. I can't be expected to do everything, can I?
Jesus. What is a reliquary?
What is this reliquary? Doesn't that have something to do with the bones of saints or something?
Oh yeah.
Not those relics. Our relics. The relics of ancient gods. Magical treasures collected over thousands of years. Books, mainly. We store them in a faraway place so no one unsavory can get their hands on
The
them.
Library of
Unsavory
Alexandria?
like you?
Unsavory like most.
The shade.
Athena has decreed that these relics are not to be used by any save Hecate and herself. A rather dull waste of so much amassed knowledge and power, but who am I to judge? I'm not leader of the chorus.
Where are the big three? Where is Poseidon, Zeus? Oh, Hades is dead. Where's Poseidon and Zeus? Just questions that I have.
If these relics are off limits, does that mean they're dangerous?
Some, but I'm not asking you to chase after any of that nonsense. In fact, I'd advise against it.
But what if one of those relics could help me?
My, such an adventurer you are. It's possible, but ask Hecate first. She, and I mean this with complete and uncharacteristic seriousness, is not an idol you or anyone wishes to cross.
Got it. What kind of favor do
This
you want?
person I'm to help. What does he want? And why can't you do it?
Well, Grace, there are some things you're better equipped to handle than I. This, as I understand it, is a delicate matter of the heart. One that requires a muse's hand.
A matter of the heart.
What, did you think I was sending you to rough someone up? Set something aflame? Don't be absurd. The man has an issue with his love life. Even if you can't help him, I'll treat the effort as worth the favor.
So that's it? Fix up someone's love life? Nothing trickier than that?
Oh, the way you talk, Grace. It makes me blush.
Well, it's just that...
I trade in willing favors, Grace. If I didn't, no one would want to do as I ask, and then where would I be? I may seem untrustworthy, but allow me to reassure you. If I wish you harm, you will walk into that harm knowingly. And with open arms.
You know...
What about Calliope? Did she walk into harm knowingly and with open arms?
You tell me. I could deny it, of course, but if you choose not to believe anything I say, what's the point of asking the question?
Okay.
I'll think about it. But no promises.
Marvelous. The gentleman you seek is named Asterion. Lovely fellow, quite harmless.
Oh, Jesus.
Now,
Baldur's
if there's
Gate?
nothing else you need.
Oh, okay, let's ask you
That
about
depends.
Medusa. Sure.
What can you tell me about Medusa?
That is a rather peculiar subject change.
Her name came up at Aphrodite's party. I'd like to look into it.
You'll find Medusa at a dingy little club appropriately named the Viper's Nest. Give her my regards. Do tell me you'll be careful if you go there, Grace. Medusa is a hideous creature and should be treated as such.
That means she's hot. They made her hot. They made her hot, Grace. That's what that means. I'll be careful.
I'll be careful. What could go wrong?
Darling, there are so many responses to that, I can't pick just one. I'll send a
Alright.
package to your domicile that contains directions and the key you'll need to reach the reliquary.
I said no promises.
Well, if you decide to go, Grace, you'll still need all those things. Say hello to darling Hecate on my behalf, will you?
Alright. We will. Nope, we're gonna go to Medusa's lair, baby. Why is Persephone an option? Do you wanna? I mean, let's do Persephone after Medusa's lair. Like, let's fill her in with what's gonna happen.
This must be the Viper's Nest. Scariest part of town, no sign. Just that one dude glaring at everyone. Well, I'm here now. Just another day in the life of an idol.
It's a gargoyle.
Grace,
Ay,
of all
putang
the
ina.
places to run into a friend,
Pan, what are you doing here?
I'm the one who told you about this place. You didn't expect my curiosity to get the better of me?
What?
You aren't just curious, Pan. Why are you really here? The truth this time.
I need to have some dastardly ulterior motive other than to be of assistance. For shame, Grace.
Okay.
I simply thought there is no way Grace knows what she's getting into there. I do admire how ably you handle yourself. Even so, surely some advice would go awry.
Sure. Is she a spy master?
If you have any advice, Pan, I'm all ears.
Well, I assume you know how Medusa became what she is.
Apollo mentioned it, yeah.
It is a sad, sad tale. Athena cursed her. A travesty of justice if there ever was one. Thing is, Athena no longer has the power to undo the curse. Or so she says. What I'm trying to say is that Medusa is not happy about it.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's something you can use.
Do you know that movie with the dad and his two daughters, and then Medusa becomes the dad's girlfriend? I forgot the name of the movie, but I love that. Anyway. Oh, and Medusa there was like, pretty cool.
Medusa is the one who turns people into stone just by looking at them, right?
People, yes. Idols, not so much. Or that's my assumption. I'll admit to not knowing if she's ever turned her gaze on one of us.
I could go in there and boom, statue time?
Maybe. Probably not.
Oh, what? Dude, I'm taking all the
Apollo
risks.
said she's some kind of spy master for Athena. Is that right?
Can't you just be
A truer
straight with me?
description, I'd say, is that she's more Athena's servant. Poor thing can't survive on her own. So she's become whatever Athena needs. Spy master, enforcer, provider of garden statuary.
Gago, landscaper.
She sounds terrifying.
More importantly, Grace, she's clever. Medusa will be no simple target.
Medusa's clever and works for Athena, but what's she really like?
She doesn't exactly come to the parties, Grace. Medusa is an enigma to most of us. If idols hide in the shadows, she lurks in even darker places.
She's a man.
She's an outsider,
Make you want
and she loathes us as much as she needs us.
Make you want
Is she dangerous?
Let's just say we're all rather relieved she stays away.
Okay.
Okay, enough talking. Time to do this.
See? That's the spirit. Now there's simply the matter of getting you in before she's aware you're here.
And you'll help me with that?
As best I can, certainly. Though I do hope you have some kind of plan.
Not
A word of advice before we proceed.
exactly.
Once you find Medusa, make the number a knockout.
Got it. Rock all the way. I feel like, well, a distraction is the best. Damn, or find another entrance. Oh, skylight. How are we gonna get up there? Maybe that's the best. Oh, we're just up
You
there.
didn't have
Cool.
to follow me up here.
Nonsense. I'm helping.
Well, can you help me pick the lock on this skylight?
Do I look like some vagabond cat burglar? It's bad enough I scuffed my trousers during the climb. Far be it for me to question you, Grace, but are you certain this is wise? I rather thought we would use our wits to gain entry.
This.
I don't recall you having any suggestions, Pam.
You were so eager to start climbing the walls, I didn't want to discourage your vigor.
Plus, you wanted to stare at my butt on the way up.
I can make the best of any situation.
Jesus. You need it.
And there we go. Coming?
We're both going to regret this.
Probably.
You
Let's split
more
up and
than
look
me,
around.
because I could be dead this week. So, I have nothing to lose.
What a long day, hiding in the light. Such a long day, dreaming of tonight. This same You've messed up my flow. Just get your drink, girl, and take your seat. It's the muse.
Is it gonna be Billie Eilish, dark beats, or how are we gonna do this?
And then
I thought we had to make it
this
punchy.
secret bite. So wrong, so right. I'm really gonna hate myself tonight.
Bring it on, bitch!
Right, let's play. I'm sure you can bite, okay. But you get a fight today. You're fighting Grace this time. And this time's mine. This time.
For
is mine.
centuries, these heroes got sent to me. Each one of them bent to me.
Not meant to be this time.
This time and all time.
This time's mine.
This time's mine. This time, just
This
like
time
every time.
is mine.
Now look into me.
Wow!
My body goes freely every time I see its tendons turning gently.
Laban bakla!
I see it renders. What'd you say, Grace? You okay, Grace? Where's the game face this time? You are currently experiencing something I like to call the preparation. Any questions or comments? That's right, it is widely known that I can turn folks to stone. But oh, I
Should
won't
be friends.
this time.
No,
'Cause
okay,
this
fine.
time I find dine that oozy musy bloods my wine this time. Look into me. Oh, she's looking away. Hey, look
You flipped that hood.
into me.
Then out came the snakes. Oh, you're so good. Finally, some steaks. Oh, the ice thing. What a difference.
Ooh, we're gonna hit the sore spot.
Monster makes. Athena made you like this.
She was mad at me. So
Well, why was she mad?
she said I'd been bad.
Had you been?
No. Now look
Ooh, should we?
into
Let's do it.
me.
Just giving you.
Medusa, look into your own eyes.
It's giving Perseus.
Okay, that's not gonna work on you.
Gotta be.
Well, let's get a proper view. I'm seeing a snake's hairdo, but you got that body too. Honestly, you look fine.
Stop trying.
This time.
You look fine.
Money says you're fine.
You're lost, little girl. No more Hail Marys. We both know the fine ones you, the monsters, me.
Don't know, you don't know.
I do know that you didn't.
Kill Calliope. So you know that it's true that I didn't do it.
No.
Yes, you do know, you know. Does that mean Athena knows?
No.
You're her spy master.
Fine grace. I'll take.
Just like fate made you, fate played me. Just like
I won't see what your eyes see when you look at me. Don't look at me.
Oh, this bitch.
Stop it. Stop it, Pan. You have no right to interfere.
It's been a long time since I played these. Good to know the old pipes are still warm.
What the heck did you just do?
Snake charming.
Oh.
Medusa can't help but be enthralled.
Okay.
Begone, pest! How dare you invade my sanctum?
Oh, I see. Would you prefer I resume playing?
You ready to talk?
Oh, fine, fine. What exactly is it that you want, pretty muse?
Did you try to eat her?
Isn't it obvious? Tell us what you know about Calliope's death.
Blast! This is why I didn't tell Lady Athena. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I only followed pretty Calliope to the reliquary. I didn't touch her. I didn't even know she'd been attacked until I saw her flee.
Oh shit. Oh shit. She went to the...
You did not even know that much.
This is the same reliquary where your friend is? The one who needs the favor?
There is only the one.
She was at the reliquary the eve she died, but I had no part in the muse's death.
You didn't tell?
You haven't told Athena any of this?
Now. Don't make me charm it out of you, my dear.
I told her Calliope was at the reliquary that night. I did not tell her I was also there.
So Athena knows Calliope was attacked there?
Yes, no. If she does, surely not by whom. I am but guessing, however. Lady Athena tells me oh so very little.
Question: what is the transformation like into Medusa if, when she transfers her eidolon? Do they have eidolons? These ones, the Medusas and the Asterions, they're not quite gods.
You said Calliope was attacked. Who could have done it?
I thought it might have been Asterion. I saw the great beast chasing her, as I was.
Oh, that seems rather unlikely. The bull's as gentle as a lamb.
It was not him, alas. He was as confused as I, and not a drop of the muse's blood on him. Yet I realized this too late.
So what happened in the reliquary?
I never entered, so I do not know. A question for Asterion and Hecate, perhaps.
This is getting very, very, very interesting.
You followed Calliope to the reliquary. Why were you shadowing her at all?
I am Lady Athena's spy master, yes. Calliope has been...
That's what I'm saying!
From time to time.
Trouble enough to keep an eye on.
Athena did it.
I keep watch over every idol who no longer lives in Olympus, but especially Calliope. When I realized she was headed to the reliquary that eve, I followed. I had a duty to Athena.
Oh, but you didn't tell Athena shit.
Did you ever find out why Calliope went there?
I was never close enough to ask. When I drew near to the reliquary, that is when I saw the muse fleeing. She was frightened, blooded,
Oh no, you did.
dying.
A tasty snack for you to hunt down.
I gave chase, yes, but to discover the truth. I knew Lady Athena would wish to know.
Uh-huh.
And you wonder why I said nothing to anyone. After all, who would believe ugly, monstrous Medusa?
What a question to ask after that statement.
Why should we believe you? You did just try to eat me, remember?
I am telling you the truth.
Can we romance her too?
One that conveniently
Happy to do
paints
so.
you
Happy to
innocent.
trade her for
Who
Persephone.
presented an opportunity?
I mean, to trade in Persephone for her.
To taste the sweet, sweet
Be
blood of a
interesting.
hero once again. It's a problem. I've been working on it, I really have.
Good for
I
you.
know it's hard to believe what a monster tells you, but it is true.
Okay.
Okay, let's say we believe you. For the moment.
Whatever you do, pretty muse, I beg you. Do not tell Athena of my indiscretion. Show mercy. I know what I am horrifies you. It horrifies me as well. I cannot help what I am. I did not ask to be cursed like this.
Man, audio levels here are pretty rough.
Indiscretion, huh?
Could barely
It's
hear
quite
that.
the word for it.
I cannot apologize for my hunger. I can only apologize that I am so very weak in the face of it.
I'll think about it.
I am a lost and cursed thing. No idol. If Lady Athena should learn the truth...
What is that? What is that, Foley? What is
I hope you find what you seek,
her
Little Muse,
feet?
and that we meet again someday. And sing a different song.
Could you just use like normal thuds?
Well, that was interesting. Now I just have to decide if I believe her.
I believe her. I don't think.
Hey, everything okay over there?
Oh, yes. Just thinking of the war. How it was at the very end. Some of us argued we should leave Medusa behind. That she didn't deserve the safety we'd find in the New World.
What do you think? Did you agree with them?
We idols were petty and cruel. We lorded over mortals because we could. We didn't learn our lesson until the war. By then it was too late, wasn't it? Certainly for Medusa. Such thoughts run contrary to my bon vivant spirit, do they not? Come to me once you've gone to the reliquary, Grace. I look forward to your visit.
Oh, Freddy, where the fuck did you come from? Glitch or?
Oh, if it isn't, the lovely Grace?
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
Well, yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked. I told you I didn't know what happened to Calliope, and that's the truth. I did not. So I nudged you in the right direction.
Why?
And lied about why.
I omitted things, yes. I was rather hoping to avoid suspicion falling my way.
I've never lied to you, Grace, and I never shall.
Medusa learned that Calliope was going to the reliquary because I told her. Now, before you say anything, I had no idea of the fatal waving
of course,
Ardennes
of course.
use. And you yourself said Medusa was not responsible. I simply had to know if I'd inadvertently, rather innocently...
Sold her out? She came to you for help, and you gave her whereabouts to the highest bidder.
I am trying to help, Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
The way where I don't take all the blame.
Oh my god.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
I wish I could tell you, Grace. I truly do.
See, now I regret choosing you over Freddy at the beginning. You are so annoying. Okay, let's talk to Persephone. See what she has to say about what we've discovered so far.
Back again so soon, Grace? You're practically a regular at the club.
Yeah, I just came from a chat with Medusa, and...
You found her? Well, you're in one piece, so clearly my fears were unfounded.
See,
Nope, they were completely
Persephone's
founded, actually.
voice is a bit lower
Maybe I
in
better explain
volume
what
than
happened.
Grace's, and then...
I knew it. We never should have brought that monster to the New World. Athena's a fool to think Medusa can be controlled. You're fortunate to have made it out in one piece. It could have gone very poorly for you.
If only you'd been
You're
there.
right. I should have brought you to protect little old defenseless me.
If I'd gone, you would have found nothing more than an empty building, I assure you.
Because you're so big and scary.
I'm glad you appreciate my finer qualities.
At any rate, Medusa might be in the clear. Pan, however, is not.
Pan might admit something unintentionally, but he can be too clever. Let me give some thought to our next step. On a different matter, I've had time to do some thinking. After Aphrodite's party, we never really spoke about the Eidolon and Calliope's memories. No doubt you have many questions.
Apollo told me a little about it. He did say I should talk to you, though.
Did he now? Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Oh, maybe
When all these memories
not
start
quite
to
that one yet.
return, will I feel different?
First, you'll have dreams. Places you've never been, people you've never met. But unlike with normal dreams, these will linger. Then they will come while you're awake. Sudden flashes or snippets of déjà vu. And sometimes it will seem so real you'll swear you're hallucinating. If there's anything difficult about the process, is that it becomes hard to differentiate between your life and all these other lives you're now recalling.
It does sound confusing.
Confusing and often unpleasant, as not all the memories will be fond ones. But that will pass in time.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
We call it passing on. I've lost track of just how many times I've passed on my Eidolon. A dozen? It's happened less often in more recent eras.
And the one you told me about, the woman married to that gangster? She was the most recent?
I don't think of Chastity as a she. That was me, just as the one my husband blasted with a shotgun was also me.
Oh.
It was one of the few times I wasn't able to prepare my successor. We were friends, yes, but I didn't know what Persephone was, and I had no idea what I'd just become.
That must have been difficult.
It was more difficult taking over my dead husband's territory. Women weren't often mobsters in those days.
Oh.
Are you really a gangster? I've heard it said, but it sounds...
Let me put it this way. I felt as if I'd been blessed by a dying woman who saved me from a prison of my own making. I didn't know what I was, but I was free. I felt more alive than I'd ever felt before, and strong enough to toss an ox 10 feet. Did I set out to become a mobster? Not exactly.
Throw me.
My husband's friends thought I'd murdered him, however, so they came after me. And one thing led to another.
Oh, I see.
Athena found me just as my memories were starting to return. I wasn't permitted to continue doing something so noticeable, so I was carted off to Olympus. It's too bad, really. I was an excellent mobster.
Oh. Okay.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Oh, how do I explain this? Grace, would you say that you are who you are because of your experiences? The things you've lived and done?
Yeah.
I guess so, sure.
Well, all the things Calliope has done, and those before her, will now be yours. They will feel like a part of your life as well. Thus, they can't help but shape you. The Grace that is now will be and will have done so much more. Fortunately, you don't have to deal with every memory. Each time the Eidolon passes on, the oldest memories fade, and that helps.
Okay, cool. So if there's a bad memory of explosive diarrhea, like that was the earliest memory, it would be scrubbed out.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
Think of how old we are, Grace. If all those memories returned to you with perfect clarity, they would destroy you.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Well, far more than we remember. The further I think back, the more it becomes a bit of a blur, actually. You'll recall important moments, Some will be mixed up with the stories mortals tell, and you won't be sure which is the memory and which is the story. An idol's memory is a series of islands in a dark ocean, and they become smaller and smaller as they recede into the horizon. It sounds dire, but you become accustomed to it. It just takes time. And now you have all the time in the world.
I have a week. But right
Wait, you
now,
said that
at
Persephone
best, a
passed on
week.
her eidolon as she lay dying. What if she had just died?
The eidolon will keep us alive for a time, even in the most horrific circumstances, in hopes that there's someone to pass it on to.
What if there isn't? What if Chastity had died before you were shot?
Well, then the line of Persephone would have ended then and there. Oh, there are some stories that say an eidolon will go wandering, that it never really dies. And who knows if there's any truth to that. It's not exactly something we've had the opportunity to study. All we know is that many idols have left us forever. They've died, and that's how it happens.
It's a lot to consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Either the trial will end poorly, in which case all of this is moot, or it will end well, and you will have plenty of time to digest.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
I'm a realist, Grace. It's what I'm best at. Now then, unless you've something else to ask.
Heart. Oh. I don't want to bring up the husbands.
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends,
Oh yeah,
right?
could you tell me what
We
I'm
were.
gonna be?
And?
And if you had told me a decade ago that I would become close to one of the muses, I would have laughed in your face. I always considered them Apollo's creatures. Calliope, Clio, and Talia. Vapid, frivolous gods who handed off their eidolon to any artist who took their fancy.
Okay.
Every time I met one of them, they were someone else. Apollo called them the Sisters of Beauty, no matter their gender. Can you imagine that? That's such a stupid name.
I'm pretty sure.
I never
yeah.
thought of that.
Are
Do
you
idols
Caesar,
change gender a
Persephone?
lot?
What's
I would
going
tend
on?
to seek out successors
Your
like
bottom half a
ourselves,
while
but
ago.
It happens. With the
Did you
muses,
see that?
It happened frequently.
Was I hallucinating?
Everywhere Apollo went, they surrounded him like a gaggle of ducklings, just like him to gather his own fans.
How did you end up
If you
being
disliked
friends?
the muses so much, how did you end up becoming friends with Calliope?
She sought me out. She'd become more and more unhappy on Olympus, so she decided to leave just as I had, long before. Calliope asked for my help, and I laughed in her face. Go ask one of your sycophant mortals, I told her. I mean, surely one of them has some threadbare couch you can sleep on.
Wow.
Typically, she was undeterred. She didn't just want a place to stay. She said she wanted to learn how to be truly independent from an idol who had mastered it.
Oh, you? Okay.
What can I say? I mean,
Well,
I am a sucker for a well-timed compliment. I took her in. And Apollo was furious. He and Calliope were barely speaking, but he was certain she'd come crawling back to Olympus. Oh, it made taking her in all the sweeter.
God, I don't know.
After you took Calliope in, that's when you became friends?
Oh, no, not right away. I wasn't looking for a friend. What I was looking for was an opening act in the club. Calliope entertained
Oh,
here
of
for
course.
years. and then
Okay.
eventually turned from performing to attracting new acts. She was in her element. She and I, well, we warmed up to each other eventually. She was more capable than I expected, and I adored her furious rants.
Calliope didn't seem like the furious type when I met her. That's hard to picture.
Oh, then you didn't really meet her. She was an idealist, and nobody could ever quite live up to her standards for very long. Her brothers and sisters, least of all. The idols needed to change, she said. They were withering away in the shadows, diminished and unwilling to save their own skins. When I joined the chorus, she expected me to change everything, as if I could single-handedly override Athena. I was to be her champion, and together we would bring revolution to the idols. Well, I was yet another disappointment. She left the club, but I gave her a place to live. We were supposed to stay in touch, but you know how it went from there.
Oh yeah, and what happened?
What happened to the other muses?
Cleo and
You mentioned
Talia?
2 others. Were they lost in the war?
One of them was, though not like you think. The day we were to leave on the ship, Talia simply never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never heard from her again. Apollo thrashed about in mourning, but Talia had been fading away for years. It wasn't a surprise to the rest of us.
Oh.
What about the other muse? Cleo.
Died long before. A victim at the hands of a mortal man, when she no longer possessed the power to bedazzle him.
Oh shit.
As I understand it, he kept her in a cage as a pet until her eidolon shriveled
What?
up and perished. He was dead before she was.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
Yes, well, we come by our wariness of mortals honestly, Grace.
Just before you entered the new world, right? What the
I'd
hell?
like to know a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
What constitutes a little more in this instance?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
Ah, the big question. To which the answer is, nobody knows.
Yeah, I figured.
I remember the
Figured
original
that would be
Persephone
the
only
answer.
vaguely. Indeed, I'm not even certain she was the original. Was there something before her? How did she get her eidolon? I couldn't tell you. Evidently, we wrote little down in those early days, or were forbidden to, and our memories only stretch back so far. Anything beyond that simply isn't.
How can you not know? Girl, it's thousands and thousands of years.
Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Aliens? Grace, you watch too many movies.
Gods are okay,
They'll
but
be fun, though.
aliens are just wacky fiction.
Fine, yes. It is strange. No, our earliest days aren't the only blanks in our memories, however. We have many. And the last was the day Zeus called us all together to tell us Rome had fallen and we should prepare for war. But did that war occur? I couldn't tell you. The last thing I remember after Rome was 1,000 years later, in the 16th century. I was in a different body, feeling as if no time at all had passed. Athena calls that period the gap. That's what it feels like.
Be better than
All
the
of
gap.
us experienced it, and not one of us knows why or how.
Tell me more about the gap. Do
The
they
gap
have
you mentioned.
affordable
What was that
clothing?
like? Did you just wake up one day, or
Affordable basic
I wasn't
clothing?
asleep. I lived. I had lives. I passed on my eidolon. I may have known who I was and what I was, but perhaps I was completely unaware. All I know is that one day Athena came to my nunnery, near Trieste, I think. The moment that I saw her, all the old memories came flooding back. My life during the gap was wiped away in an instant, and it never returned. If someone did that to us, they were powerful indeed.
what about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena woke up on her own, or so she claims, and spent the next century rounding up those idols who remained. Zeus, however, was gone. What became of him, what happened in Rome, we've never pieced it together. It's troubling.
Tell me more
Sure.
about the war.
Let's get more
It seems to have had a
intel.
huge
More
effect
lore,
on all
I
of you.
mean.
That's putting it mildly.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
Honestly, after my mother was murdered, I barely remember.
Your mother?
Her name was Demeter. Not truly my mother, but an idol who had always cared for me since the early days. I thought we'd be together forever. Then Ares brought those filthy bastards down on us. Demeter was slain by bullets. Until that day, I had believed we were untouchable.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. That must have been hard to lose her like that.
I watched her fall, heard her scream. I would have run to her, but I was pulled away to safety. By Hermes, I think. Whatever was left of the old Persephone, the innocent girl with the long hair who loved her gardens. She died with Demeter that day. After that, I don't know. We went from hiding place to hiding place. I didn't even know what Hephaestus had done for us when I found myself on a boat. We might have been gods once, but after the war, we were just refugees, like so many others, fleeing to a distant land.
Was it hard?
Was it hard for the idols to come to the new world? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't the place that was hard, it was the fear. We knew we were vulnerable. We knew mortals could and would kill us. Suddenly, there were rules. We had to be secret. We had to stay close together. We huddled in the shadows and quaked each time the mortals so much as breathed in our direction. We couldn't all live that way. Some of us drifted away, faded into the night without so much as an explanation. That's what's been the hard part. Our inevitable decline in a place where we don't belong. We can pass on our eidolons as often as we like, but it will never truly be home.
Okay, let's talk about...
Are you willing to talk about Hades? If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just...
Incredibly curious how I ended up murdering my husband.
Because it sounds fierce.
That, yeah.
One might think that my hatred of Hades began when he kidnapped me and forced me to be his bride. But honestly, that wasn't it. I hated my brothers and sisters for letting it happen, but Hades himself terrified me. He had a presence. One that forever made him the most important man in the room. And me? Oh, I was nothing in comparison. When Hades began doting on me, trying to earn my favor, I swooned that he might deign to think of me that way. For centuries, I actually thought I was in love, that the kidnapping was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's funny how our perspectives change.
So, yeah, what was it
If
then,
you got along
if
with
not the
Hades for so
kidnapping
long,
and
what changed?
forced
I did.
marriage?
I grew up.
Oh.
I was a trophy for Hades. A conquest that he expected to remain meek and unchanging forever. He went out of his way to keep me small. I slowly realized that
He trapped you in
he'd
his
always been
Mojo
that way.
Dojo Casa house.
Manipulation and arrogance behind the handsome sneer. We battled for centuries. I hated him, and I told him so, but he refused to part with me. He declared that I was his and would stay in the underworld where I belonged.
Hey, it came
And
true.
that's when you killed him?
The club is called The
That's
Underworld.
when I killed him. Yes. The first time one idol had ever murdered another. Thank you very much.
Snaps for Persephone.
I'm guessing the other idols weren't thrilled with you killing Hades.
Well, yeah, they didn't know what to do with me. And Athena was furious that the most powerful remaining idol had been lost. See, this was before the war and before all the new rules. The chorus had never once contemplated execution, but they certainly considered it then. In the end, they decided it was better to humiliate me. They ensured I did not benefit from Hades' murder, and stripped the throne I had wrested from his grasp.
Which you weren't happy about.
I asked them where they were all those years while I pleaded for help. I was held captive, and what was I expected to do? What, lie down and take it forever because Hades was more useful to them alive? No. I stopped doing what was expected of me the day I slit his throat. May he rot in Tartarus with the Titans for all eternity.
What a change in, like... So, how did you become a businesswoman?
How did you go from ruling the underworld to opening a nightclub named after it?
I won it in a bet with Dionysus, god of merriment.
Okay, there has to be a story there.
Well, the story is that he was a fool, but
Is he dead?
a charming one with many patrons. They built him a nightclub as his personal playground. And it was a grand old time for Dionysus in the 1970s,
I bet.
assure you.
I bet.
But he didn't know how to run a business. By the time disco was ready to die, so was his stupid club. So I offered to make it profitable. If I succeeded, he would turn ownership over to me. He accepted because, frankly, all he wanted to do was drink anyhow. I was successful. The club became mine, and I kicked Dionysus out for never paying his tab.
Where is he now?
Sucks to be him.
Dionysus ever sobers up, he might decide to be sore about it, but so far, that hasn't happened.
Somewhere out there drinking.
What's the deal between you and Apollo? The way you two fight.
I've told you how he and the other idols stood by and let me rot with Hades, did I not?
Yes.
It seems more personal than that.
Okay, there's an old saying that no one escapes the underworld. But that's not true. I did. Once. Not long after Hades kidnapped me. I was homesick, and I missed my mother. Charon took pity on me and allowed me across the Styx.
Charon?
And after that, Grace, I
Not
waded
Charon.
through darkness itself to get
Okay.
out of there. Hades chased after me relentlessly, but I evaded him, right up until I got to the very slopes of Olympus. And who do you suppose was the first idol I met?
Ball.
Uh-oh.
Apollo stood there. I cried out to him, begging him not to let Hades take me, and yet Apollo did as he has always done. Absolutely nothing. Hades was thrilled, and I knew then and there I could never rely on my so-called family for anything, ever again.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Oh, yes.
Heart.
That's where I'll be. Around.
Heart. No. Okay, well. I guess we'll head to the reliquary.